Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pause 2-3, the space where we dive deep into the emotions, thoughts, and patterns that shape our everyday lives and take a moment to remind us all the importance of pausing. I'm Jen, and I'm your host, and today we are exploring something that most of us carry quietly: shame and guilt without accountability. Okay, I've spoken about shame and guilt before, but I've never included the part about not having accountability with the shame and the guilt. And that's a piece I think I've been missing up until now. Just today, I was listening to the audio book of The Gift of Imperfection from Brené Brown. And it totally had this aha moment, and I knew I had to share this message. Most of my time is spent bringing awareness to self-sabotaging habits, and shame and guilt are two of those. And I know there are many that need to hear this, not just myself. So here we go. Have you ever felt like you messed something up, said something you regretted, and instead of making it right, you just sat with that heavy, awful feeling? Maybe you beat yourself up for weeks, maybe even decades. That's me. That's what we're diving into today, because shame and guilt without action can become emotional quicksand. Brené Brown put it this way: shame corrodes the very part of us that believes we are capable of change. So let's talk about how to make space for healing, growth, and true responsibility. So let's first start with defining these emotions. Let's start with the basics. Shame and guilt are often confused. And like I said, I've shared this before on my TikTok account about the shame and the guilt, but today we're going to go deeper and take a different approach to it. Guilt says, I made a mistake. And shame says, I am a mistake. Guilt can be a signal from your conscious. Shame, especially when toxic, can feel like a prison. These emotions are influenced by upbringing, culture, religion, and societal norms. And they can be healthy if they lead us to accountability. So now we're at the point where here's the trouble. When we feel guilt or shame and we don't follow through with accountability, we just try and ignore it. Those feelings don't go away. Instead, they often lead to self-loathing and rumination, projecting blame onto others, and repeating the same harmful behaviors, hence the self-sabotaging habits and patterns that we get into, the cycles. So think about someone who says, I'm sorry, repeatedly, but never changes. Or how about cancel culture punishes people without allowing for genuine repair or integration? Shame without guilt. No, shame without accountability becomes a cycle that serves no one. So what is the cost of carrying all this unprocessed shame? Unprocessed, unchecked shame can wreak havoc. It can manifest as anxiety, depression, addiction, or even perfectionism. It can destroy relationships because we lash out, perhaps we withdraw, or we refuse to be vulnerable. And when we refuse to be vulnerable, we can't heal and we can't move forward. Okay, so when we ignore our shame, we sometimes go numb. We shut down the very part of ourselves that allows connection, compassion, and growth. So you might be asking, because I know I was until I decided to dig a little deeper into this, what does accountability look like? So let's talk about that now. Accountability looks like owning what you did or didn't do without excuses and without judgment. Then offering repair, a sincere apology with changed behavior, boundaries or restitution. Okay, accountability isn't about perfection. It's about progress, awareness, and alignment between your values and actions. Okay, so are your actions matching what feels right in your soul, what feels right for who you truly are, your authentic you? So this is all great, fine, and dandy that we've talked all about this, but now what can we do to break this cycle? Let's take a few minutes here to look at some ways to transform that shame and guilt into healing. Perhaps journaling is for you. Asking yourself questions like, what happened? What do I wish I had done? And what can I do now? When you take time to think about this, it makes you better prepared for the future to break that cycle and to respond differently so we don't react. Perhaps coaching or therapy to help process that emotion and get clarity. Maybe that's what might help. What about looking at the possibility of restorative conversations with those we may have harmed when it's safe and appropriate? And maybe these restorative conversations, maybe they have to take place within yourself, you speaking to yourself. And then the other thing to keep in mind that is so important through all of this is practice self-compassion. I can't say this enough. I can't stress this enough, my friends, because beating yourself up won't make you any better, but love might. Love yourself, and that's where you're going to see the change. So ask yourself this question: am I punishing myself, or am I trying to grow? Okay, shame and guilt are not our enemies, but when left unaddressed, they can quietly destroy our self-worth. Accountability is not about punishment. It's about repair. It's about stepping out of shame and into responsibility, into integrity, and into connection. Connection with yourself. Connection with what feels right. Okay, my friends, now if this resonated with you, I would like to encourage you to share it with someone who might need to hear it. Okay, and until then, be gentle with yourself and be courageous enough to grow. All right, thanks for listening, my friend. And until next time, much love. And remember, you are amazing. Just a quick little add in here for those of you that aren't familiar with cancel culture. Cancel culture is a form of public shaming where individuals or groups withdraw support from a person or organization due to actions or statements deemed objectionable. So it's really just public shaming is what cancel culture is.